Hello, everybody. Thank you for tuning into our show. My name is Dax.
And my name is Christian. Welcome to the
Podcast. Today's topic, we will be discussing carbon emissions and how they affect our environment.
But before we begin, let's have a quick word from our sponsor, Dragon City.
In Dragon City, legends are waiting to be born. Breed your dragons. Feed your dragons. And battle your dragons against millions of players from around the world and discover who will become the next Dragon Master. Dragon City. Download now for free.
Thank you, Dragon City, one last time for sponsoring this video.
Now, Dax, I'm a little confused. What exactly are carbon emissions?
Well, carbon emissions are a form of pollutant commonly found in the production of greenhouse gases derived from the burning of fossil fuels. These fuels are very scarce throughout the world as they are non-renewable, and we are depleting an already limited supply of them through the production of factories, manufacturing, and the production of automobiles. These carbon emissions leak into our atmosphere, up into our ozone layer, and trap the sun's heat in our atmosphere, which raises the global temperature. So if you think it's already warm, well, strap in because it can only get hotter. Global warming is an imminent threat that is commonly linked to the production of carbon emissions because as the global temperature rises each year, many species of plants and animals are unable to adapt to the heat and drought, causing them to perish. As these statistics continue to rise each year, we must create a new solution on how to combat such a complex problem. Numerous countries, companies, and corporations can band together and come up with a permanent solution. By implementing mandatory laws on the conservation of fossil fuels, we can slow down the effects of global warming and create a cleaner environment globally.
Oh, yeah. For sure. I had no idea what he just said.
Shame on you, Christian. Didn't you know that the different colored recycling bins actually have a purpose?
My fault, dog. I was not aware of that. What do they mean?
Well, blue is commonly used for recycling metals, plastics, paper, and glass. But be sure to note that not all forms of these are recyclable. Plastics, such as thermoset plastics, which are commonly seen in plastic bags, straws, and styrofoam, are not to be recycled because the chemical bonds that hold them are not decomposable. When buying plastic items, make sure that you're looking for a thermoplastic option, as these are more pliable once melted and can be molded into a new item if recycled properly. Green recycling is often used for garden waste, organic materials, and food waste. These bins are reserved to only compostable items so that they can be used to recycle into organic materials to grow food.
So what happens if someone recycles into the wrong bin?
Throwing away items into the wrong bins wastes fossil fuels and manpower because these items have to either get put into the correct bin, sent to a landfill, or burned into the atmosphere, which contributes to the global warming crisis. Recycling inappropriate can contaminate the correctly recycled items, which defeats the purpose of it being recycled. Suppose you recycle organic materials such as fruits and vegetables that would go to waste, and then you put a big case of dead batteries. Over time, the batteries could heat up and melt all over the organic materials, rendering them useless.
Shouldn't there be laws regarding responsible recycling?
Now, while you may think so, unfortunately, that's not the case. There aren't any specific federal laws that make recycling mandatory. Laws created by state and city governments to enforce recycling laws are the only ways they can prevent people from irresponsible recycling. There are only 6 states that enforce mandatory recycling, those being Colorado, California, New Jersey, Washington, Oregon, and Maine.
Wow. We really need to spread the message to make recycling mandatory across the states.
Of course we do. Now take it away with the U.S. socioeconomic and political state.
Carbon emissions have shrunk, but not enough. Every time we drive to school, work, or most importantly, Chick-fil-A, we are contributing to greenhouse gas emissions due to the burning of fossil fuels. Many think that simply driving less will solve this problem. However, it will take much more action to limit these emissions in a major way. What's wrong? You don't like Chick-fil-A? It's the best place in the world, bro. All right. Aside from that, The U.S. saw a decline of 2% when it comes to our carbon emissions, but we need to achieve a much steeper decrease in order to solve this problem. The U.S. made it a goal to cut our 2005 carbon emission levels in half by 2030. But in order to do that, we would need to triple our current decline. Simply driving less will not solve the problem. So the government must step in and limit the emissions of big businesses polluting our nation. Nah, we cool though, right?
I'm sick and tired of your Chick-fil-A. But for real, y'all contribute to too many carbon emissions. Y'all gotta learn to tone it down. Tone it down with the Chick-fil-A talk.
Shoot, whatever floats your boat then, I guess.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Man. It's too much.
Just better hope we don't catch each other in a dark alley.
You know what, Christian? I hate Chick-fil-A so much and how many carbon emissions they produce. I'm gonna protest about it.
How dare you?
Oh, wait till you see.
What a beautiful day. What a beautiful
Chick-fil-A.
what is going on over here?
No Chick-fil-A.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
No Chick-fil-A.
When do we want it?
Now.
Oh my goodness, get a load of these guys, bro. As previously mentioned, the citizens of the United States only contribute so much, and is nothing compared to the amount of pollution big corporations put into the environment each and every year. For example, the top 15 food and drink companies produce almost 630 million metric tons of greenhouse gases.
So does that mean your beloved Chick-fil-A contributes to the greenhouse gases?
Nah, Chick-fil-A would never do that.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Nah, Chick-fil-A, my beloved Chick-fil-A would never do that. Anyways, this is why our focus should be putting on punishing the corporations in order to limit their emissions. One of the ways we, as U.S. citizens, can punish them is to boycott their products and services.
I already boycott them. I don't go to Chick-fil-A. Their food's nasty. Would you rather have 100 chicken sandwiches or a cleaner environment?
Make it 200, and we have a deal.
You make me sick, you know that?
You make me sick.
I feel disgusted.
So, Dex, what have people tried in the past before?
Well, many different forms of transportations that we use every day, such as cars, trucks, boats, and motorcycles, rely on fossil fuel-derived gases that produce carbon dioxide emissions due to the high combustion engines inside of them. Attempts have been made to combat the usage of fossil fuels by making cars electric instead of having to refill cars with limited amounts of gasoline. But oftentimes, these batteries are disposed of in a landfill and take thousands of years to decompose or don't decompose at all. Furthermore, these batteries are highly manufactured in large-scale factories that emit large amounts of carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. This is a temporary solution, but it limits the user to a certain amount of driving time by either having them return to home to charge or to find a charging station to plug in on the road, whereas someone driving a gas-powered vehicle could stop at a gas station, fill up, and leave. One may argue that by driving electric cars, they are being environmentally conscious by not actively burning fossil fuels while running in their car. But in reality, the power grids that power their electric charging stations 24/7 burn oil, coal, and other natural gases, which is not any better for the environment than using any gas-powered vehicle. Just because someone is not actively burning fossil fuels while driving does not justify the amount of fossil fuels that are required to keep the electric power grids running full time.
That seems extremely problematic, if I do say so myself.
It is, Christian.
Exactly, indubitably.
It is.
Ways we can help conserve energy and reduce the amount of carbon emissions being produced are limiting the amount of time spent driving and using motorized vehicles and correctly disposing of trash. A significant amount of greenhouse gas emissions are emitted by the disposing of goods that were not appropriately recycled. There are specific bins that serve different purposes, and by disregarding them, throwing non-recyclable items into a recycling bin causes it to be sent to a plant where excess energy is burned due to the laziness of the person who did not want to sort the trash themselves.
Now, some more permanent ways we can combat the emission of greenhouse gases all over the world stem down to the individual person. Cities and states can implement their own laws, but oftentimes these laws are lightly enforced, so people do not follow them properly. as previously stated, fines are being implemented as a solution, but to the top 1% that can afford to pay off these fines, it does not affect them, and they can choose to dispose of their waste how they please or use as many fossil fuel burning modes of transportation as possible. A permanent solution would be to increase the punishment as the acts of pollution continue to rise. If it is apparent that a person is abusing their power and purposely disposing of their trash irresponsibly, then we must punish them by taking something more powerful than money to stop them from committing these acts. Environmentally friendly modes of transportation such as solar panels are becoming more popular as means of heating and cooling houses, but the cost of these can be too expensive for the average person to afford and can be challenging to produce. And with that, we are done. We just want to thank you one last time for tuning into the podcast. We hope you enjoyed, and please come again soon.
And tune in next time for me and Dax's boxing match on whether we should boycott Chick-fil-A or keep eating their chicken. See y'all in the next one. Right, that's enough.